I filed for the divorce. It sucks being alone, and I've never loved anybody like him either, but I don't want a divorce.
And in no situation did she ever think about how this was going to affect her, the family, or anything.
If it was me talking to me in that moment, I'd be like, no, don't do this. Do you see how you're reacting to this? Like, you're so emotional.
This is why you don't let the emotion have a seat at the table. This was just, I feel this, therefore I will make these decisions. She's not thinking about the consequences or how this pans out. She's just making this decision. Ultimately, what happens, you gotta live with it.
It sucks being alone.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Better man.
What we got? What you got for me? You got something for me?
Talk about how most divorces are initiated by women,
right.
And
80% of women file for divorce.
A lot of these women are they're eager to get the divorce, and then when the divorce happens, they have to deal with the aftermath, and it's not pretty. And we have an example of a woman who got a divorce and then immediately regrets it.
The court notified me that my final decree of divorce has been approved by the judge. I know that it sucks being alone. I come home and I'm alone. I go everywhere alone. I filed for the divorce. So I'm sure people are wondering, well, you filed. Why are you so upset? Why are you crying?
Yeah.
Just because you make a decision that you think is going to end up making things better doesn't mean that you have to give up the fact that you love that person or that you did it because you were trying or whatever. I've never met anybody like him, and I've never loved anybody like him either, but I don't want a divorce. I still am very much in love with my husband.
Saying here is that you made a decision with limited amount of information because your emotions told you that this is what you should do. And then when you get smacked up, somebody in the comments said the dildo of consequence never shows up lubed.
Oh boy.
The internet is undefeated, my friend. Undefeated.
My God.
So I just think it's this is the thing when you make, and this is so you know what's interesting about this is a male lesson that you can learn. And what do I say all the time is never let emotion have a seat at the table. This is why you don't let the emotion have a seat at the table. She has this immediate response that she needs to get out of this relationship. She's not thinking about the consequences or how this pans out or how it might pan out or what will happen later or nothing. She's just making this decision, and ultimately what happens, you gotta live with it.
But here's the weird part is she's not even explaining why she got divorced from the guy. Like in her own video, it's very confusing, but that's the mirage of having emotions dictate what you do. And the other part is,
I'll tell you what it is. It's her expectation of the fact that he was supposed to make her happy, that him being a good guy, him loving her, him being all these things, that she was unfulfilled because of those things. And so she figured, okay, well, I'll just leave and it's always chasing the fulfillment. The inadequacies, I think what we have to understand is the inadequacies that we do feel are inadequacies that happen that it's internal. It has a lot to do with the perception. So if we're perceiving something to be, we're perceiving something inaccurately, and then we act on it in a way that as if it's gonna actually change because of that. I think we end up with really bad decision and a situation where you're bound to gain. You have to deal with the consequences of this in a situation where you don't have any choice.
I'm reading the comments here. I want to read some of these comments. I pulled them up on Twitter. Someone posted, ex-wife, you'll never find someone like me again. Me, that's my goal. She wanted to see him hurt. She didn't, and now she's hurt.
If you love what we're doing here, go to patreon.com. It's the best way to support us, and check out all the bonus content.
That's right, patreon.com/manschool202. We do weekly bonus episodes. We do listener mail, dating tips, and also, if you love the show, you can go back to the archive starting from episode 1. All the episodes will be there at patreon.com/manschool202. This is interesting because this is a sort of somebody posted this with Tyrese.
What is he doing now?
I realized that this was a woman that was very simple, who I met in a $12 sundress. And now you want $20,000 a month for a 1-year-old? Now you've hired 3 law firms to try and knock my motherfucking head off. I did nothing to you to create that. Like, you should be able to say physical violence, I got 3 chicks pregnant on the side, and love child, and I was on the road and smashing chicks on, like, what did I do that made you become that?
I'm not saying that Tyrese is wrong, right? I mean, I don't know. I know.
One thing I do think he's wrong is she wasn't as simple as he made her out to be.
No,
there were a lot of red flags. She showed up in a $12 sundress, but I guarantee you there were a lot of red flags before it got to this point.
And that's what I was going to say. There's never a situation where somebody just flips out and switches. Nobody just changes what their constitution is automatically. Understand, who you are, who anybody is based on a series of programming, culture, observation, rearing and raising, who your parents were, what you perceive manhood as, what you perceive womanhood as, whether or not you've been held responsible or not held responsible, all of those things. So, and when you're looking at a fully formed adult, now I talked about this too, that it's crazy because, you know, they say that the brain is not fully formed until you're 26 years old.
26, 27, yeah, in that part.
26 years old, right? That's 26 years of programming that make you who you are in that moment. Now, I'm not saying that you can't change, because if even anybody who listens to Black Phillip, if they listen to a lot of the stuff that I was saying in Black Phillip, I don't think it applies now. But the reality of it is that at the core, I'm the same person that I always was. At the core, what my constitution was. There's nuance and whatever, but people, and I'm not saying that people can't change, but I'm just saying it's very rare that they're going to change. And if it took you 26 years to become who you are, right? And whatever, and however older you are, plus that, then people are not going to change easily. It's just not going to happen like a drop. You just can't turn a switch. But to the same token, the same is the truth for Tyrese. Tyrese always is in some fucking love conundrum or whatever. Tyrese didn't grow up with his father. Doesn't have any, as much as he talks like, I'm a man. You don't really understand what it is to be a man. You cannot be in a situation where you're dishonest about what you saw, or at least you were willfully ignorant. This is not Tyrese's first rodeo. We've seen Tyrese crying on the internet. We've seen him break up with this person and be with this person. We've seen him be in relationships where he's where he says it was a marriage of convenience and stuff. I don't know how old Tyrese is now, but Tyrese has got to be late 40s.
Let me see. 45. Tyrese is 45.
So he's not no kid. And Tyrese has had women problems all the time because it seems to me like he doesn't have a real masculine. He never had a real masculine image to kind of model after. And
that could be a problem. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not could be. It absolutely is a problem. You have to. And here's the other thing: if you don't notice, somebody's got to teach you.
And look, listen, Tyrese, I'm sad that you're going through this. We could have helped Tyrese if he had just reached out to us.
How would we have helped him, Harry?
I mean, if Tyrese had reached out and asked for a consultation, if he had emailed me at advicefromharry@gmail.com, I could have talked him through what's going on in his marriage and saved his marriage. If he had gone to you, Dante, gone to DanteNero.com and clicked on consult, you could have helped him.
It would have been okay.
You tell yourself to not actually divorce?
Not at that moment, no. Like at that moment, no, I would not. I would, if it was me talking to me in that moment, I'd be like, no, don't do this. Do you see how you're reacting to this? Like, you're so emotional. I can tell you don't have peace about this. Like, I know that this is not where you're supposed to be right now. Like, you give it time, be more patient, like, wait till the dust settles. I definitely would have told me in that moment, no.
Got it.
Lawyers, court systems win in this. No, families don't win in divorce.
I love how the guy chimes in. He goes, "I've heard that before."
Yeah.
This is all stuff guys already know. We already know. And even if you've never been divorced, you already know. Why? Because even if you've never been divorced, you know a guy who got divorced. Or you know a guy who knows a guy who got divorced. Or we see the stories on TV of how much it costs and we already know this. And they know it too. They have access to the same info.
The lawyers are in cahoots.
Sure.
So let me give you a little bit of background about this whole divorce thing. Is when you get the lawyers, you have to decree the assets. So both lawyers understand what you're worth, and then from that, but they can prospectively go, okay, how much of this money we can get. They can do this together. The two lawyers can come to how long can we milk this? Because that's what their intention is, to get your money. But the fact that you get a woman that you love puts you in this position because, and what did she say? She said, overall, I wouldn't have, if I was me talking to me, I would not have done this. But you did. You did do this. You absolutely did do this. You created this situation, and you didn't have the emotional maturity to have a conversation. Because if you know what I'm saying, I guarantee you he spent more than $20,000 a month on lawyers.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt, because she didn't have to pay for it. She didn't care about it. But again, my point is not just how bad it is. Look, we can go on all day about how bad it is. The point is this. Women have the same access to this information and this experience.
Sure.
And they don't care. They don't care because there's no consequence of it.
But
and the emotions getting in the way. My point is, they know this. This is all information men have. Like, yeah, divorces, families losing this. Yeah, I know. That's why I was trying to avoid getting a divorce. We know. Yeah. We know. They know, but they don't care because the emotions get in the way. Facts don't matter. Well, this is what I need to do. I need to hurt him. This is what I need to get mine. I got to
do it right now. I have to do it
right now.
You know, it needs to be done immediately.
You know how many times I've had a situation where I go with a girl where I go, I'm gonna break up with her. I don't, and then I took a pause. I go, look, I can always do it tomorrow. I can't undo this. Once I do this, it's done. So let me take a moment and think about this, because once I do this, it's done. There's no going back. Well, I don't know that they have that thought process.
Let's be honest. I think we should always make decisions from that way. That's why we say never let emotions have a seat at the table. Make the decisions based on information that we have at hand. You have to assess things from a reasonable, logical way and see if this is really what you want. It's okay to take a beat. And if you're emotional, you're gonna have that problem. And you're arguing and you're emotional. Again, emotions, the culprit, right? You're in this, you're emotional and you start yelling. Now the whole argument is about you yelling. It's not about what it is, what it needs to be about. And so, and you could always tell.
There was a therapist that was speaking to both me and him, a marital therapist at the time, that when I told him my decision, he was like, you know, when you get lawyers involved, it gets ugly. He told me that. And, you know, I didn't even realize
How many people had to tell you? How many people had to tell you? Your therapist told you, Jay-Z told you, family friends told you, everyone told you, and you still did it anyway.
Nas, Big L. You know, this is the arrogance of this is the ego. This is the ego of you just not even listening. Look, don't get me wrong. People could maybe having lawyers, getting lawyers involved in your relationship will be a great time. Maybe that's wrong. But how do you not have any process of discerning what is truthful and what is a lie?
And women, we're like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me.
That means you're a bitch.
I'm the kind of...
Hold on. When someone goes, I'm extremely emotional, that means you are...
I am unreasonable.
Unreasonable, unreliable, hurtful, and mean. So
and untruthful.
Untruthful. So let's fix that.
No accountability.
And everyone knows that. No one... Yeah, all right, whatever.
I'm batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Women, we're like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me. I'm the kind of person that, like, okay, I feel so strong, and I can ruminate. I can get so lost in my thoughts. I know a lot of women are like that. Like,
reckless. I'm the type of person I get lost in my thoughts and nothing else matters. You mean reckless?
Not even how I feel about you or whether or not I respect you.
Not even how it affects you, how it affects me. I'm reckless. Just reckless.
Not all of us, right? But some of us are. Just like a lot of men can be like that. But I know women specifically, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. Here's
the other thing. What does that have to do with you? It doesn't, saying that doesn't relinquish your responsibility for being a bitch. Like, you're being a bitch, and it doesn't have to be. You talking about your emotions and how you operate doesn't excuse any of that.
And because you don't have a certain person in your life to check you and say, sis, what about this? What about this? What about these strengths? What about what he's not doing? What
about him? What about going to your man that you're in the relationship? Why do you need these outside voices? Why not go to the man that you're supposed to be in love with? I always feel like as much as we kid about Tyrese and his lack of manhood, and so what I will say is Tyrese, every time he loves hard, like he is emotional and he loves hard. In a way. And then anytime he's had a breakup or something, he's in therapy and stuff like this. It's not like this dude won't do what you want him to do if it's reasonable.
Yeah, but I think that is ultimately the problem. I'll guarantee you, just assessing this on the outside, Tyrese is all in. He is a lovable dude who loves, but the problem is when you love, he probably approaches this like, let me give my wife everything she needs and she wants. Yeah. And I'm sure she kept at it, and she wants different things, even things that are unreasonable. He tries to make happen, and that leads to fights, things that she doesn't even, that's probably bad for her. Yeah. And the consequence, because it happens in all relationships if it goes unchecked. If you don't stand up to her and have to make the decisions of yes to this, no to that, yes to this, no to that, because it's going to be problematic, then ultimately it leads to a lot of conflict. When you do stand up for yourself, it leads to fights. And I guarantee you it's chaotic because he couldn't control her. She got out of control with her behavior. He couldn't control it. And then it just led to fights and disrespect. I guarantee you the amount of energy and emotion, I'm sure she shit on him a lot.
Of course.
And then she loses respect for him in the process. I guarantee you what happened. He was too soft in the relationship. Yeah. And he was trying to give her everything she wanted and didn't set any boundaries. Yeah. And this is the end result. She hates him for it. In the long run, she hates him. It's another situation.
But this is and the thing is that, I'm always pleased with the fact that we cover everything. Like, we have something that applies to this. And what is the thing we have applies? That you have to be strong enough to protect yourself from your woman's emotion. You got to be strong enough to protect your relationship from your woman's emotion. You have to be strong enough to protect her from her own emotion. So this is a hindsight 2020 where she's talking about this after the fact. But he didn't have the strength or the tenacity to put the brakes on this, to hold her accountable, because he didn't do it in the beginning. Like what you're saying, he love bombs you. He's in, he's just all in, whatever. And then when those little. By the way,
I don't believe in the term love bombing.
Okay.
Because I think it's a fallacy. Women use the term love bombing.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what it is. Love bombing is early on in the relationship when everything is lovey-dovey and you're in your best behavior. He's doing all these romantic things. What happens is you start changing your behavior and you have an attitude, and that kills the romance within the dude, because why bother? No matter what I do, it isn't good enough. So you stop doing the romantic things because you get frustrated. And then she acts like it's you. Oh, up front, you hit me up with a lot of love and then you change. No, you changed, and it killed whatever energy and desire I had to do nice things anymore.
Okay. Yes, I agree with you. But an old pimp technique is that's how you pimp. You love bomb up front and then you gradually change.
That's being manipulative, and most guys aren't pimp. Let's be honest. Most guys don't have that skill set.
Yes, but some guys are insecure enough where they feel like they have to work really hard to create value. And then let's be honest, how many guys do we know who get into the relationship that just don't? I mean, we did a whole video on guys dressing in dirty sweatpants and stuff. I mean, guys get to the point where they slack up and they don't hold themselves responsible as well.
Fair enough.
But on the front end, it's new. Maybe it's not, and maybe it's not directly manipulative, but it is. I mean, if you don't think that you have self-esteem and you don't have value, you believe that, and you act accordingly. Anyway, Tyrese, call us. Call us. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. Yo, we out.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't.